Welcome back to Network Forensic Fundamentals. Once again, my name is Phil Hagan, and in this episode, we're actually going to turn it around to you. This is where we're going to give you the ability to look at some sample lab material from Forensics 572 and reinforce the concepts that we've covered so far in the series. The reason that we do this is because until you actually do the work, you don't really learn a lot of the muscle memory that we've talked about and really get the hang of doing the actual work itself. So we want to give you an opportunity to do that. And in our course material, our labs are designed as realistic kind of simulations of real casework. Now, in the sample labs that we have for you, it's a way that you can get a feel for the concepts we've talked about in the YouTube channel so far, as well as an opportunity for you to see how I like to put lab material together for the course. In the course, all of our labs are browser-based, and that'll be the same for the sample labs that you have access to as well. Now, just real quick, if you're a Forensics 572 student who's getting ready to take the class, you already have your course content to download most likely, and therefore you're going to be able to use the SIFT Workstation that is built directly into your course materials. All those instructions are provided for you directly, so follow those directions, and then in the SIFT Workstation, just launch the browser and you'll have your full electronic workbook. Now, for those of you who don't yet have course materials, or who maybe haven't signed up for a course yet, you still can go through a subset of the lab material, which we've put together in the sample labs you have in the URL shown here. So go ahead and open that up, and you will have access to a very basic set of labs that's specifically designed around the material that we've got for you in this series. And each of those labs has a standard structure. We start out stating the objectives. Basically, what are you going to reinforce? What are you going to learn through going through this lab? And then in the preparation section, it's basically the background that you would need in order to start the lab. So it's lab specific, but it is going to be very important for you to read through because you're going to understand a lot of the foundation, the reason that that lab exists, and kind of where you're starting in the mini case or the scenario that's presented. And then that'll bring you into the lab content. This is really where you spend most of your time, because this is where the detailed narrative, the questions and answers, and all of the other context that's going to help you to get through the labs is going to be. So that's really where the majority of lab content is, but those preparation steps are going to help make more sense of it as well. Then at the very end, we have a takeaway section. And this section is where we kind of restate the objectives with the knowledge that you've gained by going through the labs, kind of putting in a nice closure, a nice bookend on it so you can kind of see a little bit about what you've gained through going through the lab. Each of our labs also has some bonus challenge content. This is going to be in line with the rest of the lab content, and this is for if you find you really want to learn more about a given tool or a given concept, you can have additional hands-on material that you can use to reinforce or expand upon those concepts. And each of our questions is framed in line with answers as well as the commands themselves that are used in order to generate the results. Take a look at this example here. We're going to simply ask about, hey, what IP address do you receive? It's a very simple example, but we want to make sure that you're going through it in a very thoughtful way. So we ask you the question up front. If you want to make sure that you've got the right answer and kind of check what you have approached or attempted, you can go ahead and simply click on the banner and it'll unroll to show you what the results will be. Now, if you're not sure how to get those results, you can go to the next level. You can actually unroll the command line section and it'll show you whatever command lines might be necessary for you to accomplish those results. And this is a real simple example, but if you were looking at a much more complex long command line, you also have this copy to clipboard option. And this is where you can simply click the button and the entire set of commands is going to be copied. You can go ahead and paste those into your bash shell, your terminal window, and then it'll get the same results for you. And if you want to make sure that your results look right in context, you can take the last step here and unroll the results section, and that'll show you the results in context, just as you would see them in your normal shell. That's going to be for every single one of the questions we have. Now, again, just to demonstrate it for you here, it was a very easy example, but you're going to see in your lab content that gets to be much, much more complex. And there's some other features that we have in the electronic workbook that obviously aren't going to convey well to paper. Obviously, copying and pasting, not going to work so well on paper, so we give that to you in electronic form. But we also have the ability to zoom in on images as you need to get more detail. And if you check this example out on screen, any image where you see this magnifying glass icon means you can zoom in on the image to get more detail, which is especially helpful because some of our screenshots have some pretty minute details that are rather critical. And in the sample that we're going to show you here, by zooming in on this screenshot from a Kibana interface to a lab content from Forensics 572, you'll see that we zoom up a little bit on that. And you can actually even zoom up further in this case by clicking on it again, and you can see the additional level of detail. And then when you're done, you can simply hit the escape key or go into the upper right-hand corner and click on that X icon, and then you'll be free and clear. That's just a little bit of an introduction to how I like to put the lab material together. Now, the sample labs that we provide for you are just going to reinforce what we show you here in the Network Forensic Fundamentals channel. And these are things we're going to be adding onto as we add more of the videos to the series. So I'll add more videos and eventually add more labs to that as well. And you'll get a chance to come back and reinforce those at your convenience. Hopefully you find that to be useful, and hopefully you enjoy the hands-on portion of the material that I've provided for you. Looking forward to hearing your feedback, and there will be more content to come, so please do stay tuned. Make sure you're checking out the future additions that we're going to put into the channel. I'm Phil Hagan, and I hope you've enjoyed this. Hope to see you back soon.